Get a bunch of men in the same room, and sooner or later, the conversation will turn to the all important matter of sport. Whether they're football, rugby, or cricket fans, they will quickly divide themselves along tribal lines, each vouching for their own sport, or more specifically, their own team. If those men happen to work in the demolition and construction industry, those tribal lines are often drawn between preferred brands of equipment. There'll be the die-hard Caterpillar fans in one corner and the Komatsu fans in another. In each instance, they will believe their choice was the right choice and that their machine is somehow superior. They'll advocate for their preferred brand and for the dealer supplying it with an almost religious fervour. When COVID-19 arrived in the UK back in 2020, there was a mad rush to discover and develop a cure and preventative vaccine, even while the debate over the necessity for and the efficacy of the vaccine was still raging. We went tribal once again. "Which jab did you get?" came the question. "Pfizer," you'd respond. Then people would gasp with mock horror and then explain, often in great detail, that you should have insisted on the AstraZeneca. In the 1970s and 1980s, the so-called Cola Wars raged over something as ridiculous as a fizzy drink, with Pepsi and Coca-Cola each fighting for global domination, and the fans of both taking sides. For the record, Coca-Cola is better. It just is. Similar wars rage to this very day in the world of tech. PC versus Mac, Apple versus Android. All of the audio recording gear we now use is made by DJI because I prefer them to Rode. All our camera gear is Canon because my son hates Sony. We've picked a side, a team, a brand, and a tribe. And by God, we're sticking with it. And I've been reminded of this tribalism twice recently. During the recent European Demolition Association study tour across Italy, I found myself embroiled in an unlikely discussion between a group of demolition men, each of them advocating for a different artificial intelligence platform. It really happened. There were a few ChatGPT fans. Someone else put the case for Google's Perplexity. Even though I'm a Mac man these days, I took a stand for Microsoft's Copilot, which I now use pretty much daily. Let me be clear, this was half a dozen demolition men extolling the virtues of their favourite AI platform. Welcome to the modern demolition world. And then yesterday, after my morning live stream, I was discussing with a contributor the relative merits of a bunch of video editing systems. Now, if I'm in a hurry, I use Apple's iMovie. If I've got a bit more time, I'll opt for Video Leap. When my son heard this, he looked at me with derision and said that Motion was better than both of my choices combined. Both of my grandfathers were Millwall supporters, so genetically at least, I should probably have been a Millwall fan too. I was actually born in South London. My nearest team was Chelsea. Geographically, I should have been a regular at Stamford Bridge, but I abandoned both genetics and geography to follow West Ham. I don't know if it was the colour of the kit, or the crossed hammers badge, or the fact that three of our players had just won the World Cup. It certainly wasn't the quality of the football, but something clicked. My first ever car was a VW Beetle. I bought it for no other reason than that my dad had one when I was growing up. I was a member of that tribe for a very short space of time until my head was turned by a series of cars that didn't smell like they were on fire. There's something to be said for that genetic link. A lot of companies run JCB machines today because their father did so before them, and their fathers ran them because their fathers did so too. There will also be those that have a specific passion for a make or model because it marked their point of entry into the industry. The first machine I ever drove was a Cat 428. That was 30 years ago, and I still have a Cat 428 to this day. Against that background, it's little wonder that some manufacturers and dealers donate machines to facilities like the National Construction College at Bircham Newton. Catch a young person while they're still learning the ropes, and you could have a paying customer for life. So, what is it? Is it the strength of the brand, the quality of the experience, the charisma of the salesman, the speed of the after sales support? Or is it something else? Something indefinable, like when you discover a band that just speaks to you. Just as strange as that tribalism is how it can manifest itself. As a long-time iPhone user, I secretly and quietly look down on anyone with an Android phone. I know digger drivers do precisely the same with equipment brands. If they're sat behind the levers of a Volvo or a Liebherr, you can almost see the pity on their face when someone else pitches up in what they consider to be a lesser brand. And yet, for all of that, people are fickle. There are some who, for one reason or another, switch tribes. They change allegiance. I can think of one demolition company that ran an excavator fleet that was entirely Hitachi. But then they were hit by a double whammy. First, the main salesman at Hitachi left, and that connection was broken. And then Hitachi was struggling with supply. That demolition firm jumped ship to Caterpillar, and they never went back. In truth, they may have done, but sadly they folded before any such decision became necessary. In the end, it doesn't matter whether you're Team Cat, Team Komatsu, Team iPhone, or Team Android. What matters is that you've picked a team at all, because without tribes, we'd have nothing to argue about over a pint or a morning brew or a Diet Coke. Not a Pepsi, a Diet Coke.